Hey, I'm Wayne from 13th Legion, and today I'm going to basically show you what should probably be the best way to allocate skill points with taking weapon mastery into account. Um, I've reset my skill points today. I have 188, which obviously most people won't have. I'll go through gradually showing about what around 40 to 50 skill points you should be using, what 60 you should be using, and then beyond 60 about how you should allocate your skill points. This is mainly focused as a DPS today. First things first, when you go into your skill points, make sure you get your super speed, supersonic, aerial glide, or you'll hate yourself in the morning. Generally, I would say don't worry about movement innates until you have at least both weapon master combos for your weapon. The weapon I'm showing you today for this example is staff. I picked staff for two reasons. One, it's the weapon I started my character with. Two, staff is unique in the fact that it's the only weapon that both weapons that you spec into to fill out the weapon mastery, every weapon with staff has a precision buff in the second tier. Generally, you'll get more return on precision than might, especially if you have a low number of skill points and you're relying mostly on weapon mastery. So first things first, we should talk about how this weapon mastery thing works. Hover over this ball on the left. It will show you the required combos to get mastery, and it will always say you need 20 points in staff. So we need Martial Flowers and Focus Spin. The nice thing about that is Focus Spin is in top 1 and Martial Flowers is the second. So all we have to do now is spend 20 skill points to be able to unlock mastery. So these combos that I'm getting, this overhead strike is generally a useful combo other than weapon mastery. Most of the time with DPS though, you pretty much just use weapon mastery combo. I ignore launching roundhouse for this part in staff because I don't think it's ever been fixed and it's a broken combo. As a DPS, the first thing we pick up are DPS innates. Nice thing about staff with this first part is its crit chance bonus that we get, and then we get precision. Then we have about probably 5 to 6 points left over to spend. What you spend those on is kind of personal preference. I would suggest either defense, health, or power. Personally, I usually go for power just because generally I'm not meleeing, so I don't need the health or defense, because in top tier content you have to range as a DPS for the most part. Then we've unlocked the weapon mastery. We've spent the 20 points. We now have this third tier of innates. The only one we really worry about as a DPS is this one right here, which is 25 precision and might. Spec out into that. Or actually I have to do a mistake, but I get a mulligan on this one. Generally, do not spend on the third tier of innates until you have gotten your combos. The first combos you want to get are the range combos. With staff, that's rifle. And the melee combos for staff are one-handed. I would suggest getting the range combos first because, like I said, most DPS in this game is at range at the top tier of content, simply because that's just the way they've designed it. You have to be fairly overgeared to be able to melee anything consistently in this game. So we're going to go to rifle to get our range combo, and I'll show you the range combo. Let's see what we need. Overhead smash, flamethrower, rolling barrage, and flip burst. I know from experience that the only one outside of the stat boosts in this tree is right here, which is overhead smash. So let's get those. And again, a nice little thing about staff is there's in rifle, there's crit chance. There's also crit chance in one-handed. So not only do you get 9% crit chance once you max out your weapon master and staff if you only have 60 some points, but you also get the added precision. So staff is kind of one of those, if you're going to build around precision, it's a really nice weapon to start with. I wouldn't necessarily suggest everybody switch to staff, but if you like the weapon, you get that benefit from it. I'm just going to fill out power until I've hit my 20, get the rifle mastery. I now have the third tier unlocked, but I'm going to ignore that. I'm going back to staff. Oh, this is one thing I've forgotten to tell you. If you need to spec into a combo that's not required for weapon mastery, like this mortar mastery, which is, and we need mortar mastery for this demonstration because staff to mortar is the major range combo. So we're just going to spend 1 extra point. So I've spent 4 extra points than I would need to show you this initial build that I'm basically previewing how to maximize your skill points. So I get mortar mastery. Flip burst mastery, it's a melee combo. It's nice for being able to melee in low man content or content you're over geared for. Not necessary for what we're doing right now. So what I've spent is, what is that, like 19 points, and I said 4 points were spent over, or I mean 39 points, and I've wasted 4 points. So with almost 40 points, let's just call it, or it's 40, I can't do math, it's basically about 45 points to get movement mastery and the mortar combo. So that mortar combo on a dummy, it does pretty good damage even without a buff. This is basically the bare minimum you would have if you're going into staff. If we go back to it now, we say you have 50 skill points. What you're going to do is first go to staff, you pick up your precision and might, which I already did because I was silly, and then you'd go to rifle and you'd pick up the precision and might. At this point, you'd be it would be a point of, if you're in between 40 and 60 points of what you pick up next. If you have 60 points to be able to pick up the other weapon mastery, we're going to go to one-handed. And first things first, so I don't make the mistake and waste another point, I'm going to see we need air launch and cleave from one-handed. And one-handed also requires air launch, spin chop, flip slash, and focus blast. Focus blast is in the first one. I know from experience that I have to pick up flip slash here, and then cleave is over here. I then get, I guess it's crit damage. So I get 6 crit chance and 12 crit damage by speccing into staff on a bare minimum. After this point, I'm going to spec into power until I get my mastery. I'm going to assume at this point that you have enough skill points to pick up the precision and might at the bottom of the one-handed tree, and we'll go back to staff. Let's pick out the rest of these combos, and we'll look at the stats that I've gotten, this is full T6 gear with a 91 belt, a Ring of Omnipotence, and the 91 weapon. As you can see, the precision over 2200, the might over 4000, and that's just with spending about 60 skill points or so. Or 70 some, I guess. As you can see, mortar hits for pretty good numbers, even without any buff or anything. You can do, if I can do martial flowers, you can see that hits pretty good. You still got overhead slam, and the melee combos on staff, I don't use staff that much, so if I can get cleave to work, you can see that. And that was the air launch. Generally at this point, once you've got your all your weapon mastery combos you'd want, and I filled out all of them mostly just to show you what they hit for. They can hit for quite a bit if you have gear and you still have low skill points. Generally at this point, I would suggest any skill point you have after this to get to your movement mastery recoveries. So you have to pick one of these powers. I'm just going to pick the pull because the pull's nice to have, and I'm going to spend points on the movement mastery. As you can see, I've spent 83 points to get movement mastery and 2 weapon mastery combos. The movement mastery you don't necessarily need, but it's very nice to have, and your trollers will like you to have it because you'll get power back every time you break out. Generally, the way I would spec your remaining points, depending on if you have any more at all, would be going after the crit chance innates first, and then the crit damage innates. Once you've got the crit chance and the crit damage, I would personally then look at maximizing the number of trees you can go into to get the 3rd tier of innates. Crit chance is two-handed, rifle, hand blaster, staff, and let me see, I think dual pistol? No, dual pistols damage. I think those might be the 4 or 5 that do crit chance. If you really wanted to do the math, you could probably, you might be able to min-max by, or actually I guess I should say, it's personal opinion if you want the movement innates or not. Generally group content, the trolls should be giving you enough power, and you shouldn't be straying for power that you really need them, but they're nice to have for solo content and dual content, and just if you don't want to be as much of a power hog as you possibly can, it's very good to spec into them. They'll also help you with with just control resistance themselves, as well as the breakout mastery, which allows you to recover your, basically use no power for breaking out. I'm gonna activate one of my builds and show you basically the maxed out stats I do with the 180, with my 188 skill points. As you can see, I have over 4,000 might and about 2,300 precision with this build of only spending about 80 skill points, and it's technically not even full T6. If I activate one of my builds that I use, if it'll activate, I've spent all 188 skill points. I actually am waiting for a skill point to get this knockout recovery boost probably, and my stats with all of these skill points with these weapon master trees is almost 2600 precision and 43 or 4400 might. So with the extra 100 skill points that I have over the ones I showed you allocated, I get about 400 might and about 300 precision. That's also including a weapon that, if I see, has a difference of 11 precision and 28 might. So as you can see, the more skill points you get, the higher, obviously the higher your stats will get. The biggest thing is if you have low skill points, you just want to maximize your gain. Things that I haven't really considered would be things like if alternating crit chance to crit damage would be more effective, or at what point crit chance becomes diminishing returns. If you're using weapon mastery all the time, crit chance isn't necessarily as big of a deal because every time you hit the weapon master window, you're guaranteed a crit. It'll affect your dots and your normal weapon master attacks though. So some of those things are kind of up to individual choice of whether you want to go into movement innate, whether you want to focus everything on crit chance first or mix some crit chance with crit damage. But generally I would suggest, as you start up, once you have your weapon mastery combos that you want for whatever particular need you need, to then get movement mastery and crit chance, crit damage, and then go into extra trees after that. And I think that's about it for what I want to cover. Hopefully I didn't ramble too much.